Hi, my name is Amy. Thank you very much for watching, and let's make some bad financial decisions together. This is for entertainment purposes only, so if you're entertained, please like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. So I'd like to talk to you today about correlation is not causation. And this came up because I was watching a YouTube video, and it was someone that I listen to often, and I do listen to people that I don't agree with 100%. But this thing that was said, it was so wrong that it kind of, it broke my brain. And I stopped the video, and I wound up actually just making the song, Correlation is Not Causation. And now I've organized my thoughts a little bit more, and I would like to talk to you all about this. And there's some information that if I feel like they misspoke, or their education's a little bit different than me, so I think that maybe they don't have full understanding of it. There's different levels of well, that's not going to harm me if they believe in that. But this, if someone's very respected and they say something that's really untrue, could be very dangerous for you and your portfolio if you believe it. So I'd like to tell you what I heard and why I think it's dangerous and maybe what we can do instead. So, and to me, some of these things that are dangerous, it's kind of have you ever seen 5-minute crafts where it's, satisfying, you see little hacks and you think that's fun, but then you get ones like Dolgana, and the way that you're supposed to make Dolgana is over a stove, because you have water and you have sugar and you get it very hot, and then you dip fruit into it, it becomes candied fruit. But the way that 5-minute crafts was suggesting to do it was you microwave the water with the sugar in it, and then when people went to go get the bowls would explode in their hands. And since the water was now 1,000 degrees, people were permanently disfigured. So let's not get permanently disfigured in the market and clear this up. So what I heard was Bitcoin is a leveraged Nasdaq 100. So, no, just straight up no, but let's go over that a little bit. So, if you look at the Nasdaq 100 and you look at Bitcoin, it would be easy to say oh yeah, the Bitcoin is just a leveraged Nasdaq 100 because they generally do move in the same direction, but Bitcoin's more volatile, so it has greater movements. And the reason for that is because they're both influenced by macroeconomic conditions. So if there's a war, or if, Jimmy Carter dies, or whatever happens, if the economy goes down, then Bitcoin's also going to be related, or going to be affected, because investors are having those feelings at that time. So yeah, in normal circumstances, they will, for the most part, move in the same direction with the same world news that's going on. But Bitcoin is not inherently correlated with the US stock market or any stock market. It's not an equity. And there are instances when it becomes very uncorrelated with the economy. And what I'm referring to is that Bitcoin specifically has, once every 4 years or so, a halving. And what this does is it cuts the reward for mining Bitcoin in half. And it's not that right away it makes the price go parabolic, but it's like dominoes. and in a few months, it goes up. And then you have about 2 years of winter, and then it does the cycle again. Bitcoin has basically a very defined 4-year cycle, is what I'm getting at. And it has since inception. And you can debate whether this particular cycle, the winter will be bad, because now we have large institutions buying Bitcoin. And with the Bitcoin ETFs, there will still be trading during the winter. So this winter may not be as bad as it has been historically. And it could be argued that because of the trading, future halvings won't have as big of an impact on Bitcoin. But until I'm proven otherwise, I'm personally going to operate like Bitcoin has basically a defined 4-year cycle. And on the other side, the Nasdaq 100. The Nasdaq 100 has companies from different industries and different sectors. And different sectors can have different cycles if they're cyclical. So it could be like 6 years, 10 years, 25 years, whatever that particular industry's cycle is what that stock is going to follow. So the Nasdaq 100 also does not have a 4-year cycle. And so to say that Bitcoin is a leveraged Nasdaq and you can use Bitcoin to gauge how investors are feeling, that's not correct. Also, if you want to gauge how investors are doing, why would you not just use the VIX? The VIX is the fear and greed index. So when you have things that are not related to each other and you're trying to use that to fill a narrative in order to figure out how to act in the thing, I think that's very dangerous. But also, another interesting thing is that more and more companies are getting Bitcoin in their balance sheets, and because of the new accounting rules, when Bitcoin goes up, the businesses will go up, and then if it works the other way as well. So they're becoming more associated with each other, but it's debatable about like which is influencing which, and will there ever be a time where Bitcoin totally pulls away from the market? Because it can, because it's not inherently correlated with the broader market. So I would view Bitcoin and crypto like it's their own thing. I would look at the Nasdaq and the US stock market as its own thing, and I would use the correct tools to gauge the fear and the greed of each of those separately, just so that if something happens in one of them and it's not affecting the other thing, we haven't based our trades off of that and got wrecked. So that's all I wanted to say, is that I just don't want people to think that they can look and use Bitcoin as kind of a gauge for the Nasdaq 100. So, we're going to get to the point where I am, I'm shouting out my own things. So, I published 3 songs today. Turn Fear into Fortune. That is a barbershop quartet, because I was having trouble getting Suno to do anything with a quartet, and I was very determined, but I think it's catchy. It's about buying the dip. And then Correlation is Not Causation is a Baroque song. It's operatic, and I like it. And then Wymax is the One to Beat is a dance pop song, which is also very catchy. And we also I've been developing Yield Might, and what this is supposed to be for is if you had put in a certain amount, what might your distribution be based off of the price of the stock and their latest distribution. So if you had $700 for XCTE, you would get $5 this week and then $22 for the month. And for YMAX, it would be $4.96 and $21.47. And if you click into it, you can change the stock price and the dividend amount and how much you want to invest. And that way, if you are trying to figure out based off of your own cost basis, then that's how you would get your distributed amount. And don't use this as your only tool that you're using for trying to figure out what you want to invest in, but I do think that it is useful to be able to look at all of the high income ETFs that we care about and side by side and say, if I put in the same amount of money, how much distribution would I get? And yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about today. What is something that you believed in when you first started investing that turned out to not be true? And I'll talk to you later. Bye.